So this is part 2 of my video on the acceleration of evolution. If this acceleration is viewed solely through the accelerating developments in population and technological capacity, then the prospect for the future of anything but an increasingly robotic system denuded of human feeling or emotion is looking bleak. Fortunately, there is another type of accelerationism that is also on the increase, that of spirituality. Within the last half-century and the corresponding development of global communication networks, a more knowledgeable and informed attitude towards theology, religion, dogma, philosophy, and individual relationship with divinity has grown into the world of today, where there are as many religions as there are people. As the rigidity and strictness of existing religions in both the Eastern and Western world has left them behind in the accelerating consciousness movements of the last 50 years, so the need for more realistic alternatives has become more urgent. The patriarchal attitudes of the most contemporary religions are now seen as dinosaur-like, and have directly contributed to the rise of the feminist movement in the last 50 years. More people than ever before are now searching for their own relationship with whatever it is that they call the divine, having given up with the old conventional order. Recent scandals involving paedophilia and priests from almost every religion since the turn of the millennium have contributed massively to the decline in organised worship and the corresponding upsurge in fundamentalism as a direct reaction to that decline. As both population and the demands upon individual time grow exponentially, so perhaps also does the concept of individual psychic space and the need for people to have their own direct line to God. This trend is accelerating in ways that match both population and technology. Perhaps the purpose of Pluto in this particular aspect of accelerationism is to push people individually into a deeper and more psychologically orientated focus on the need for a greater sense of collective unity in their lives. It can be clearly seen from the above that the proposed accelerationist principle in human evolution exists, and that the speed of this accelerationism is not linear but is exponential. It can also be seen how Pluto can be used as an allegorical reference in all of these scenarios. Up until the time of writing, Pluto still remains hidden and occluded, a mystery awaiting discovery, and perhaps this is clearly shown as evidential in human society by its refusal or inability to see the accelerationist perspective and not plan for the future. Perhaps the imminent arrival of a New Horizons probe, remember this was written nearly a year ago, will unravel at least some of the Plutonian mysteries and may indicate a symbolic wake-up call in humanity to the immediacy and urgency of its problems as a species, regardless of internecine squabbles. One thing is absolutely certain, however, and that is that population is not going to decrease. Technology is not going to stand still, and neither are attitudes towards spirituality and divinity. All of these things are set to continue their exponential growth in the coming few decades, in ways that without any form of tweaking or managing will inevitably lead to some type of sudden downfall. Exponential growth in any form is not sustainable. So the question has to be asked, what happens when that exponential growth curve reaches prime vertical? Also, from an astrological viewpoint, how can astrology help? When the hypothetical exponential graph curve reaches prime vertical, only one of two things can happen. This pace of acceleration can become suddenly unsustainable. The pathway of the exponential curve turns in on itself, resulting in a sudden crash, and perhaps the whole process beginning again, this time in the opposite direction to the past. In this eventuality, a dystopian future of a soulless population living on processed food, chemical drugs, antibiotics, and endless superficial media in an increasingly polluted environment will only lead to a mass pandemic. This could, alternatively, the exponential curve can do the opposite and instead exceed the parameters or boundaries of the graph. This could mean a greater symbiosis with the Earth and an advancement into the emerging soft technology in a way that embodies spirituality as opposed to the mechanist attitudes of the old hard technology. It will also require more holistic attitudes and a willingness to allow the conscious and unconscious sides of our nature to combine, both personally and globally, as well as a more balanced attitude towards environmental situations, feminism, art, human rights, etc. And to quote Terence McKenna, "If these things are not a part of our future, what kind of future will it be? We didn't cross the ice sheets for this, we crossed the ice sheets to go to the stars." It may well be that in the future astrology, and particularly that branch of astrology that helps people understand themselves better at a psychological level, will become a common language between humanity and the cosmos that it lives in and with. Within a year, the New Horizons spacecraft will have passed the Pluto system, and humanity will hopefully have a very different perspective on this most distant of objects, both from an astronomical and astrological perspective. Our collective view and understanding of Pluto will be very different, although he will not give up all his secrets willingly. If the outcome of the mission is successful, and it was, Pluto will at least temporarily come out of shadow and into the light, and hopefully the transformative process that is so necessary for human evolution will be more readily entertained and understood.